I don't know why numbers fascinate me so much because I got C's and D's in school in math. But when you look back on the King's various statistics, Richard Petty has got them covered. Now, everybody and his brother knows that the King topped out at 200 NASCAR Cup victories, 95 more than second place David Pearson, who had 105. And that was in 1,184 starts. But there's another element to all these races that he ran.
If you ain't first, you're last.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. You're first, you're last. You can be second, you can be third, fourth, you can even be fifth.
That's right. In all those races, how many times did the Randleman Rocket finish second? Let's, as the kids say, take a deep dive at those numbers. Richard didn't record his first runner-up finish until his second year, and that was at the Lakewood Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia. They said Papa Lee finished second, but he protested and said there was a scoring error. Now, I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but he claims he won, and the simple fact is NASCAR was giving out cash bonuses if you won a race in a current year model car. Well, Lee was driving a 59 model. Richard wasn't. They checked. Sure enough, Lee was right. Now, that may be one of the most famous or infamous runner-up finishes in Cup history. 1960 saw Richard become a perennial winner in the series, winning 3 races, but he also had 6 runner-up finishes. He, Dad Lee, and Rex White coming down for the championship. We did a video short on that, so why don't you check it out, and we won't tell you what the subject matter is. You can go watch it. 1961, Richard's runner-up total went backwards a little with 4, but that was to be expected as Lee had his big Daytona crash, which basically took him out of the sport and almost wiped out the team. But by 1962, they rebounded with 10, and that was the second most ever by Richard behind the wheel, and he won 8 races in 1962. 1963, the King was driving that, well, they called it that boxy Fury, and they were saying they were having trouble on the speedways. And you can attest to that by looking at his second place finishes and seeing that he only had 8 on the short tracks. But he did have 14 wins, which isn't bad. 1964, the year of the Hemi. Richard won 9 races, but also finished second 14 times and won this first championship. Speedways, short tracks, it doesn't matter. The Petty Plymouth was running better, and Richard was now a champion. 1965, the year of the Chrysler boycott. Well, he won 4 and finished second 4 times. Then in 1966 is when he had surgery early in the season. He won 8 races, finished second 9 times, and won his second Daytona 500. Now we come to 1967, and there's really no debating that this was the greatest season in NASCAR history. Richard winning 27 races. But he also finished second place 8 times. Now you probably thought, oh, he's finished second 15 times. Well, no, but think about the numbers. He ran 48 races, won 27 of them, and finished second 8 times. So 48, 35, that's 13 races he did not finish first or second. Wow. 1968, 49 races, and Richard won 16 of them, but finished second 6 times. So again, the numbers, half the time he's winning or finishing second. But for a team like the Pettys, that still is not good enough, and Richard let Plymouth know that, hey, I need some help. They said, nah, you'll be all right. You drive a Plymouth. You're winning all the races anyway. So he said, well, I'm going to win all the races in a Ford. And he won 10 and finished second 8 times. I guess for 1970, Chrysler thought, well, we should have listened and put Richard in a Superbird with a nose and a wing, which is what he asked for in the beginning. But I think there were some ulterior motives why he kind of did that in the Chrysler Parts division. But anyway, 40 races, he won 18, finished second 5 times. In arguably the second greatest season in NASCAR history, Richard won 21 events, finished second 8 times, and that was in 46 races. So we're talking 29 races, first or second, in 46 tries. Woo! Don't need a calculator to figure that out. 1972, the beginning of NASCAR's quote-unquote modern era, which went from about 48 to 50 races down to 30, 31, and all dirt tracks removed, and Richard still won 8 and finished second 9 times. Again, well over half. And it was only the 5th time that he finished second more than he won any races. For the 6th time in 1973, Richard finished second more than he won, as he had 6 runner-up finishes and 5 checkered flags. 1974 and 1975 were again championship seasons for the Randleman Rocket, as Richard won 10 in the former and 13 in the latter. 8 times he finished runner-up in 74 and 5 times in 75. So again, doing the math, in 60 races had 26 wins, 13 runner-ups. That's 39 times either first or second in 60 races, well over half. By the way, what's going on with the King and all these iconic second-place finishes? Jeez. Could there be a bit of a chink in the armor for the 43 and the big red STP logo on the hood? As in 76, they only had 3 wins, but 9 runner-up spots. But in 77, there was a bit of a comeback, as they won 5 races in the first half of the season and had 6 second places. And that's in 60 starts. And what were we just saying about iconic and memorable runner-up finishes? I can't think of one more memorable than the 1976 Daytona 500, where the King finished second. If you ask anybody associated with Petty Enterprises, in 1978, yes, that chink in the armor was a new model car called the Dodge Magnum. They won no races, but had 3 second places. One at North Wilkesboro, one at Riverside, the road course, and the infamous race at Atlanta to end the season, where Richard was flagged the winner, but they gave the race to Donnie Allison on what they called a scoring error. Comeback complete? 1979, Richard started the season with 40% of his stomach removed from ulcers. But he won the first race out at Daytona in February, won 4 more, and had 7 runner-up finishes in 31 starts. So about third. Not bad. Congrats, champion. His final of 7. Competition is getting a little keener, as in 1980, they had 2 wins, 4 runner-up finishes, and 1981 had 3 wins, but only 1 runner-up finish. We don't know what you call it, but again, the numbers are suffering, as in 82, the King had no wins, but 5 runner-up finishes on short tracks and superspeedways, and in 1983 broke that winless streak, took home 3 checkered flags, but only had 1 second place. Every race fan knows that in 1984, Richard won his 199th and 200th victories, and we saw the spectacular show at Daytona in front of the president. But what most don't know is he did not have a runner-up finish, the first time since 1958, his inaugural season. And he also didn't have one in 1985. Now, he claimed one in 1986 at Atlanta, right behind Dale Earnhardt, and he finished second for his final go in the runner-up position in 1987 at Bristol. And that was it. Think of those numbers, though. 1,184 Cup starts. 357 times Richard Lee Petty was either first or second. That's a third of his races that he was either holding the checkered flag or almost holding the checkered flag. Incredible. And you wonder why they call him the King. Well, I don't wonder why, but some do. There should be no debate. Richard Petty, the greatest of all time. Please let us know in the comments what you think. Please hit that like and subscribe button and notifications so you don't miss any more, well, deep dives into the numbers like we like to do. And maybe don't take too much after us since, like I say, we got C's and D's in math. Yikes! How in the world I ever got out of high school. But have a great time this weekend. It'll be COTA coming up, and we will talk to you soon with a Stock Car Fact Short.